Hello and welcome to this video. So we just head over to Google and type in VirtualBox and hit enter. Then we're going to click on the first link here that says VirtualBox. So I'm going to click on that. So this is a powerful open source visualization software. Here I have to choose the platform I want to install VirtualBox, and I have a Windows operating system, so I'm going to click on Windows Host. So here it's asking me to save my download. I'm going to put that on the desktop and say save. So the VirtualBox is around 117 MB, so it's downloading right now. At the end of this download, I'll come back to continue the video. So next, we head over to the Kali Linux page. So we're going to click on the first link here, and I click on download. So I'm going to go with installer image because I want a complete control over my hardware access. So I click on this and it brings me to the latest version of Kali Linux, which is 2024.4. Here there are two options and this one is selected for me already. So I'm going to go with the installer, which says complete offline installation with customization. So I'm going to click on this download icon here and it's asking me to save. So I'll choose my desktop and I'll click on save. So I have the Kali Linux being downloaded here. I will get back to you once the download is complete. The next thing for me to do is to install the VirtualBox. So to do that, I right click on it and run as admin. Click on run. Click on yes. So I click on next. I have to accept the license. I click on next. Now here is the interface for us to choose where we're going to install VirtualBox. But I want it to be on drive C, so I click next. So here is a warning that installing Oracle VirtualBox will reset my network connection. So it means that if I have an active download, it's going to affect it. But I have nothing downloading at the moment, so I'm going to click on next. So here I just need to click on yes. And here is an option to create shortcuts and other things. So I want to leave them the way it is. So I'm going to say next. And right now I'm going to install. So I'm going to click on finish while this is checked to start the Oracle VirtualBox. It's time for me to install Kali Linux. The reason why we install the VirtualBox is because our Kali Linux is going to live and depend on the VirtualBox. So to do that, I have Kali Linux here on my desktop. So I'm going to click on new, which could stand for new installation. And here, I need a name. So you can call it anything you want, but for easy identification, I'm going to call it Kali Linux. So the next is the ISO image. So I'm going to drop this down, click on others, and I go to my desktop and I click on the ISO image and I say open. That is the Kali Linux ISO that I downloaded. So with this, it has taken care of these settings here. So I can say next. And this is asking me to choose my hardware. You can modify virtual machines hardware by changing the amount of RAM and virtual CPU count. So here I have a 2 GB of RAM selected by default here. I don't want to change anything here. So I want to go with the system default. So I go to next. Now it said create a virtual hard disk now. And it has given me 25 gigabytes. Now, one thing about this is that I want to be using this installation for a very long time. So, and also I have 1 terabyte of hard drive. So I'm going to allocate 50 gigabytes to my Kali Linux installation. You can decide to go for 30 gigabytes, 40 gigabytes, but I want to go for as much as 50 gigabytes. So this option is if you have installed a virtual hard drive before, you can make use of this. Then if you don't want to add a virtual hard drive, you can choose this. But I need a virtual hard drive for my new installation. So this is the first installation I'm doing on this system. So I need to create a virtual hard drive. So I click on next. And here is a summary of everything I have. And you can see the ISO file here and the folder where I'll be installing the virtual machine. So all I can do is say finish. And I have created my virtual machine. So this is like a PC on my main physical PC. So this is the virtual PC where I'm going to install the Kali Linux. So what we're going to do right now is to click on start, since everything is being added, both the ISO files. Now in case I forgot to add the ISO file, I can come to these settings, then click on storage, click on this add, then I will click on add again, then I'll navigate to where I have my Kali Linux ISO file, which is this. I'll click on it and I'll say open, and here I'm going to say choose, and you can see I will add my ISO file. But because I have it already, I'm going to get rid of one. So I'm going to remove this one. So that is how to add your ISO file in case you didn't add it while creating your virtual machine. So I'm going to say cancel. So it's time to now power on our virtual machine. So we start by clicking on start. So I click on show to display. Alright, so here I have Kali Linux installer menu. So I will press a key to continue. So I'm going to use the down arrow to go down or up arrow to go up. But here I'm going to choose graphical installer and I'm going to hit enter on the keyboard. And here is the installation proper. I'm being asked to select a language, and English is my language, so I say continue. Now I need to select my location. So say I should configure the keyboard. So what you choose here depends on what you're familiar with. So I'm going to continue, or I'm going to leave it on British English. Now say continue. It says configure the network. Please enter the host name for the system. The hostname is a single word that identifies your system to the network. If you don't know what your hostname should be, consult your network administrator. If you are setting up your own home network, you can make something up here. So since we are not into networking or whatever, why don't you just use a name which you can use to identify yourself on the network? For me, I'm going to just go with Kali. Then I'm going to say continue. And here is the domain name is a part of your internet address to the right of your host name. Now here, I'm going to leave it open as long as it allows that. So I say continue. And here it says set up your password. Now enter your full name for the new user. And remember, as a hacker, you have to think about your own personal security. So it would be a very bad idea for you to put your name here. All you are required to do here is to set up a name that you can use, which is not your personal name. So here I can choose anything. So here I'm going to use the name Mr. Right. Doesn't mean anything. So I'm going to say continue. And again, username for your account. I'm going to use that Mr. Right again, but you have to remember it because you're going to use it in the future. So I say continue. It's time for me to choose a password. And like you know, we are in the business of security. A secured password will be the best option here, which consists of lowercase, uppercase, symbols, and numbers. Now, if you put your password, you have the option to see it by clicking on this button and also by clicking on this button. So I'm going to change my password now while unchecking this. And I'm going to repeat the same thing. So I click on next. Make sure you remember your password because you're going to need it to log in. It is advisable to use the entire disk. So we'll click continue and we are here. If you remember well, this is the 50 GB disk we created earlier, whereby I said I need it for the future. So we just click on continue. So at this junction, we are going to go with the recommended, and this is for new users. So I'm going to say continue, and here there's nothing to choose here, so we'll just say continue. And here it said write the changes to disk. We have to say yes, so say continue. So the base system is now being installed. So here, only the core of the systems is installed. You can check on this to add them, but for now, we are good to go. So I say continue. And this software installation will take some time. So you can go do something and come back to see how far the installation has gone. And this says install the grub bootloader. Look at this. It seems that this new installation is the only operating system on this computer. If so, it should be safe to install the grub bootloader to your primary drive. But there's a warning here. If your computer has another operating system that the installer failed to detect, this will make that operating system temporarily unbootable, though grub can be manually configured later to boot it. The option we are to choose here is yes. And somebody might ask, am I having one operating system on this my system? The fact is this: Kali Linux does not know about your main operating system. So just say yes and we continue. Install the GRUB bootloader. So we're going to choose -dev-sda and we'll say continue. So this is going to help to finish the installation process. So we are on our way to finishing the installation. And here, installation is complete. So it's time to boot into your new system. Make sure to remove the installation media so that you boot into the new system rather than restarting the installation. Please choose continue to reboot. So at this junction, what it's trying to say that if you did this installation through a USB flash drive, it's time to remove it before you continue so that the installation does not start afresh. But we didn't use the flash drive, so we are good to go by saying continue. And that is the system booting into Kali Linux. Okay, still booting. Let's give it some time to boot. So here we have our username and password. So for my username, I'm going to put my username and password. If at this junction you're unable to log in, don't worry, there is a solution. You don't have to start the installation afresh. If you want to know how to reset your password or username, drop it in the comment below. So what we can see now is that we have our Kali installed, but we have it on a smaller window. So what we need to do is we're going to restore this down and click again, and that is it. So let's go to terminal and type ifconfig and hit enter. Now if you look at our inet address, this IP address is not in uniform with our local area network. So we need to set this to be in the same IP range with our local area network. So to do that, we go to settings, we come to network, and from that we're going to go to host only adapter. I'm going to click OK. I click on show, type again ifconfig, and right now you can see that our IP address is within the IP range of our local area network. Now if I go to CMD also, let's go and check the IP address. So I open command prompt, so I'm going to type ipconfig here. Kindly note that on CMD we use IP configuration, but on Kali we use ifconfig. So enter. So we're going to look for Ethernet adapter Ethernet, and this is the IP address here. So you see that this is 192.168.56. So this our IP address is now in line with our local area network. So now we are good to go. So that's all for this video on learning how to install Kali Linux. If you have interest in learning cybersecurity, subscribe to this channel and come back every week here for a fresh new video. Thank you and see you on the next one.